Hey Scorpio, I hope that you're all doing well. The first card that we have out here is Queen of Swords. When Queen of Swords comes out, there can be a lot of stuff that is on our mind, and you can be like analyzing things, you can be thinking about things, but maybe even to the point of there can be something here that's been heavily on your mind. This thing that's been heavily on your mind, you can feel like you've been thinking about it so much that you've gotten kind of stuck. And I see there being this like returning thought. It's like you keep coming back to this place. Now, I'm also seeing that we have Eight of Cups on the bottom of the deck. And so maybe there's this part of you that's kind of been like looking into a situation and assessing it. And it can be something that, like, there's this part of you that feels like you may not want to be doing this thing anymore, and you can be thinking about kind of like stepping away from it. But I get this thing where for some reason you're not taking action on it. And I don't know if this is like you thought too much about it and now you feel stuck, or you feel like, well, I haven't finished thinking about it. But I see you being more stuck than anything. Like, I think that you know what this is, but maybe it just doesn't feel simple for you to separate yourself from this at this point. But I get this thing about like you keep coming back to this thought, and you kind of keep coming back a bit to this conclusion, but maybe there's this part of you that like doesn't feel totally open to that. It's like no matter where you go in your head, I'm seeing you like keep coming back to this thought of like maybe not wanting to be involved in something anymore. It's like you don't really feel happy with it. That doesn't mean that there can't be moments that you enjoy. There definitely can be, but like overall you can be like, I don't know that I really want to be doing this anymore. And I think at this point, like maybe you've like kind of concluded that, but you just like haven't done anything, and you can be telling yourself that you're like not totally sure yet. Or maybe you feel kind of like you don't know what to do, even though I get that you do know what to do, but there's just like something going on here where I feel like, yeah, not doing anything about this. If you had the freedom to do anything, like maybe there's this part of you that feels like, I don't know if it's strategic for me to step away and that's why I haven't done anything. Or then like, if I really allow myself to honor this, then what am I going to do about that? It feels like this. Like, I think actually on the emotional front, you know what this is for you, but I think there are other things that come with this that maybe make it like difficult on like possibly a practical level. And then maybe you're like, maybe I should just stick with it anyway, but I'm getting you don't really want to, so you can feel like it's hard to kind of find the motivation, especially because when you're like really getting in touch with what you feel, you can be getting kind of, I don't know, I feel almost like these thoughts going on in your head, and you're like a little pinball and you keep like hitting into a bunch of them, like having to do with a conversation about this. Something that's coming to mind too is that the energy of Scorpio, it's connected with what you feel, but Scorpio is also a deeply psychological sign. Like more than any of the signs, Scorpio has to do with our psychology. And so maybe there's something going on here where you feel like your heart and your mind are sort of like fighting with one another, where I think you know in your heart how you feel about this, but there are other parts of you that aren't really like giving yourself permission to maybe take action based off of that. I get that. So maybe you feel like I still need to work this out. I haven't totally gotten there yet. Meaning, you can ultimately be feeling conflicted. And I think that it's kind of delayed this process. It's delayed you taking action on this. It's delayed you saying something about this. It's delayed you confronting this in 3D. You've been confronting it within yourself internally. But as far as you taking action in 3D, I'm seeing that you haven't done. So that means that like the people or person you need to talk to about this, you haven't said anything yet. You've just been like putting off having this conversation is what I'm seeing. And you can be telling yourself that your mind isn't made up, even though I get you know how you feel about it. I think there's been a lot of hesitance here with you actually like doing something about this. You can feel for some reason like you can't. Let's see why you're feeling like this. Maybe you're going to have to give up some sort of control, and that can be something that you don't want to do. Maybe you know, like if you're within something, even if you don't really want, you have some level of control, and if you were to like really honor the way that you feel, something may be out of your control, and there can be a part of you that like doesn't want to like hand that back. This is a very big deal I'm seeing. Ultimately, you can be telling yourself that you feel really stuck, but from everything that I'm seeing, you already know how you're feeling about this. I think that it's just trusting your instinct enough to actually follow through at the end of the day. And I think you're really caught up within the air energy, which can have you thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about this and then not doing anything. Like telling yourself that you're not ready to. I definitely am seeing it be like, well, it's not simple, but I think the other things that you're considering, like I need to consider this and I need to consider that, it all feels like those are shadows in comparison to like the deeper feeling that you have here about this. There can be a contract that this is involved within. There can also be a commitment that this is connected with, and there can be a position that comes with this, and you may like that. You can like the status of it, you can like what it means that you get to be involved in this. There can be a part of you that really enjoys that part, but it feels like you don't want to do the stuff that kind of like is required that comes along with it at this point. So I feel like if you're really going to honor the way that you feel here, you're gonna have to give this up. But that doesn't mean you can't create it in a new situation in your own way. I think that, but you can be very attached to the position that this connects you with. That can be something that you like. But why can't this be recreated? Yeah, it's like, do I want to take that chance or not? I don't know. Like, I think, again, that part of this has to do with you being in a place where you can feel like in some ways you have a level of control that if you were to really honor the way that you feel and do what you want to do here within your heart, that it would put you in a position where you don't feel like you have the same level of control that you have now. And there can be a part of you that's like, I don't know what's going to happen then if I do that. And I don't know if I'm totally open to that, because this feels like this would definitely change some stuff that you have going on. And there's this part of you that would have to be, I think, okay with riding that wave to see where this takes you. And I know at the end of the day, you're going to be better off for it. But in your mind, you can just have a hard time kind of like allowing that process to happen. And so you can be sitting here with this choice not being made. And you can feel like one part of you is saying this and another part of you is saying that, and they're just kind of at odds with one another. And maybe you also feel like, I don't know if the timing is right. That can be something too. There can be timing at play here. There is this part of you that's like, you really don't want to be stuck within this anymore, and you can even feel like you're kind of suffocating a little bit. But I think another part of you may be kind of like used to forcing yourself to be in certain situations. And so that part of you may not be the most receptive to this. I almost get somewhere where like you have to be there and you have to be involved, and I'm getting this like you don't really want to. I feel like you keep like coming back to this place of being like not really wanting to engage. It's like you'd rather engage in things other than this. And I'm seeing you actually feeling like kind of grumpy about it. Like I get this, you're kind of stuck in this situation. You can be feeling like you don't really want to be there, but you may not be open to the changes that this would require of you, because I think you're going to have to let go. And there can be this part of you that has felt, it's like your allegiance to being deeply committed to certain things, deeply committed to this thing that you're doing, versus the more true, I think, calling for you to be spreading your wings here. And I think that's really what the battle is, because in some ways you can be like not feeling very happy with this thing that you're involved in anymore and not really wanting to do it anymore. And there's this part of you that's coming through and being like, that doesn't have to be the story anymore. We can really switch it up. But I think that there's this part of you that feels kind of, you know that you would have to surrender. You know that you would have to let go. And that feeling of like, I'm not going to be in control, that can be, and there can be an insecurity with that. Like maybe you feel secure with the place that you're in, even if you're unhappy. There is an element of security that comes with it. And if you were to let this go, it would introduce maybe a perceived feeling of insecurity, but it would be like new and adventurous for you. And I think there may be a part of you that's not totally open to that voice within you yet. Like not totally, your mind isn't totally open to that side of you yet, where you can be choosing comfort and security over kind of like the new era that you'd be stepping into. But it can be because your mind is kind of closed off right now. So maybe there's something that you're going to do with yourself to kind of get in a place where you're level. Because I'm definitely seeing there be conflict at this point. And I think that it's going to come down to like what your reasoning is for making the choices that you're making. Do you want to stay within something where you feel there's a sense of security, but you're like deeply unhappy being within that and like unfulfilled? Or do you want to move in the direction of fulfillment where there may be insecurity for a period of time, but then you're going to build that security? Like, are you willing to make that transition? And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, this can be a thing where instantly you can feel secure in this position, but if you were to open your mind here and to try something new and to kind of like venture out, you may feel like you have to let things fall into place for a little bit, but then you're going to build what you need to build, and that's going to happen. And then long term, you'll be happier with that. You want to try to keep working on this, or you want to open yourself up to kind of roll the dice here. And that's really what this is about at the end of the day. But if you're in a place where you're not willing to kind of like trust the cosmic forces, I think it's going to be really difficult to embrace this, even though if you were being totally trusting of yourself and how you're feeling, I think at this point you would be like, no, I'm ready for something new, and I know that. But you're going to have to work with the part of you that's not open to that, because you want to feel a sense of control, even if it means you'll be like low-key miserable. So I think that's like really what it comes down to. It's just about you working with yourself and being like, why am I doing that to myself? Why do I feel like I'm better off doing that than I would be bumping to the next kind of like chapter of things within my life? And really, what do I want for myself? So maybe you're going to zoom out, and I think too, you may be getting stuck on some really like minor details that don't really need to be considered right now. So I think taking a step back can kind of help you look at things. And what you're going to find is that when you get to a place where you get on the same page with yourself, it's going to feel very clear, and that really is possible to do, but you are going to have to break into a new energy in order for you to do that. Because I get like some sense of stagnancy here a little bit. That's having you cling to something and you handing it back in, it's overdue. And that's why you feel the way that you feel. But then you're going to have to make the choice. And maybe you're not feeling the most brave right now. I think there's a part of you too that I think you already know what you're feeling. It's just like, are you going to honor that or not? Are you going to act on that or not? Or are you going to tell yourself that you're just like fine putting up with this, but then you're not going to feel, it's not going to sit well with you. You know, I get this thing like kind of clogging the pipes a little bit here that you can be feeling energetically. And once you give yourself permission to release this and you like tell yourself that you're allowed to do it, I think too, something that I'm seeing here within the energy is that when you finally find a sense of security within something, you can really struggle to let it go, even if it's no longer in alignment, because you crave security so badly. But the thing is that this is out of alignment, let it go, and then you're going to be able to build security in a new and different way. So you're not losing a sense of security. You know, something is just out of alignment and it really needs to go at this point. But you have to trust that you have to trust that what you're feeling is right, and that it's not going to lead you astray, and that you can still have what you want, even if it's going to like take a little bit of time to recalibrate. But things can be good, you know, like you don't have to compromise on the quality of stuff. You're going to be able to recreate this in a new situation. This isn't just like you like losing out on this and then never again. It's just going to be, you're going to be like building in a different place, and you're going to be able to get back here again, and it's going to be something where it's like it feels right to you as well. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.